meeting. Call to order. Attendance, please, Ms. Washington.
Akeisha,
Repeat.
Christopher,
Here.
Mark,
Present.
Roger,
Here.
Wendy, I'm here, Ryan, Miss Lydia, here.
Okay, let's with that quorum, now call this meeting open for whatever business may come before it. Approval of the previous minutes. So moved. Second. Moved by Roger Watkins, second by Marquette. All in favor? Opposed? Hearing none. Motion carries. Approval of presentation of the agenda, action items. Selection of the nominating committee. Resolution to approve and submit the 2025 Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire for 2025 audit, and an actual resolution to write off bad debts for the year of 2025. Those are the action items coming up in the actual agenda. I need approval of the actual agenda. First of all, any amendments for action items, anything that needs to come before this agenda. I move for approval of the agenda. Second. Moved by Marquette, second by Roger Watkins. All in favor? Opposed? Hear none. We have the agenda approved. All right. We have approved the December 9th regular board meeting minutes. You guys have actually read those minutes. Do you have any corrections to those minutes? Okay. Anybody see those minutes? December 9th?
I'll make a motion.
So moved by Ms. Lydia Contreras. Second by Mr. Marquette. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? And then motion carried. All right. Okay, selection of the nominating committee at this point.
We spoke to everybody, everyone that's listed on here has agreed to be on it.
So can we agree at this point? Everybody in agreement? Yep. All right. Yeah, well, just gonna read it out.
Yeah, those are just essentially,
Yes.
Chris just assigned those.
Yes, I'm just gonna read it out for the records. We're gonna select the nominee committee, Mr. Marquette, Ms. Washington, Mr. Wheat, and Ms. Contreras. Are gonna be parts of the nominating committee. Do I need an actual board approval for that, or just, okay, that's fine. We have a resolution to approve and submit the 2025 Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire. Ms. Washington, can you read that resolution, please? I'm sorry.
Resolution 2025 Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire. Whereas the New Orleans Municipal Yacht Harbor Management Corporation, MYHMC, is a public limited corporation of the City of New Orleans, which leases from the City of New Orleans its property rights at West End. And whereas MYHMC was placed in control of its own funds in 2010, and whereas MYHMC is required to have an annual audit of its financial records and practices, and whereas MYHMC entered into a contract with the public accounting firm of Luther Spite and Company CPAs for the purpose of preparing its 2025 audit, and whereas MYHMC is required as part of its financial audit to complete, adopt, and provide the Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire attached hereto as Exhibit A to Luther Spite and Company CPAs prior to the commencement of the 2025 audit. And whereas MYHMC confirms that the responses to the questionnaire have been made to the best of MYHMC's knowledge and belief. Resolved, the Board of Directors of MYHMC hereby formally adopts the completed Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire by formal resolution in an open meeting attached hereto as Exhibit A, and authorizes its President, Treasurer, and Secretary execute and to provide a copy of the completed Louisiana Compliance Questionnaire and a copy of this resolution to Luther Spite and Company CPAs. The undersigned certifies that they are properly appointed and qualified Secretary of the MYHMC, a corporation duly conformed pursuant to the laws of the state of Louisiana, and that said meeting was held in accordance with state law and with the bylaws of the above-named corporation. This resolution has been approved by the Board of Directors of MYHMC on the 10th of February, 2026.
I, as authorized by the company, hereby certify and attest that all the information above is true and correct.
That being said, I just need approval of the resolution just read. Make a motion. Motion by Marquette. Second by Watkins. All in favor? Opposed, hear none, motion carries. We now have a resolution to write off the bad debt.
Resolution 2025 write-off of bad debt. Whereas the New Orleans Municipal Yacht Harbor Management Corporation, MYHMC, is a public benefit corporation of the city of New Orleans, which leases from the city of New Orleans its property rights at West End. And whereas MYHMC derives revenue and pays expenses as a consequence of its operations, and whereas MYHMC maintains accounts receivable for rental payments which are due MYHMC, and whereas an account receivable is reserved for by MYHMC when evidence indicates that the account may become uncollectible after significant collection efforts have been attempted, and whereas the Board of Directors of MYHMC has established a bad debt write-off policy, now therefore the Board of Directors of MYHMC hereby authorizes the write-off of bad debts for the 2025 fiscal year as noted on Exhibit A attached here to February 10, 2026. The undersigned certifies that they are the properly appointed and qualified Secretary of the MYHMC, a corporation duly conformed pursuant to the laws of the state of Louisiana, and that said meeting was held in accordance with state law and with the bylaws of the above-named corporation. This resolution has been approved by the Board of Directors of MYHMC on the 10th of February, 2026.
I, as authorized by the company, hereby certify and attest that all the information above is true and correct.
Question, Brian, I do see for today, I don't want to have to read this into records, our personal names, so I don't really want to do that public record, but you know I've been authorized a resolution, we don't need to read this Exhibit A, correct?
That's correct.
Thank you. I will now ask for an actual authorization to approve the resolution to write off bad debt. Please take a motion.
So moved, Watkins.
Moved by Roger Watkins, second by Marquette. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Financial report, Mr. Watkins, please.
As of January 31st, 2026, Municipal Yacht Harbor Corporation has total assets of $18,348,300, with current assets of $4,591,300, and the bulk of which in the form of cash, $4,431,000, two accounts, one chief mortgage bank, and the other plan. Net fixed assets total $1.191 million. Other assets include leases receivable of $12,186,000, for an outflow of pension resources of $375,700. On the liability side, our corporation has total liabilities of $12,702,200, of which $660,800 are current liabilities, consisting mainly of accounts payable and accrued expenses of $76,400, unearned revenues of $395,100, and accrued annual sick leave and sick leave of $179,654. Long-term liabilities consisted of net pension liability of $956,000 and $11,747,200 for deferred inflow of long-term leases. That leaves Yacht Harbor Corporation with total equity of $4,984,900, of which $4,484,900 is in unrestricted net assets. For the month of January, the Yacht Harbor Corporation had total revenues of $196,500, with total expenses of $170,000, which resulted in a net profit of $26,500. Current slip occupancy is 95%.
Heard the reading financial report for January 2026. Can I get a motion for approval, please? So moved. Moved by Marquette. Second by Ms. Lydia Cottrell. All in favor? Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carried. Approval of financial report. Moving now
So January was busy beginning of the year for us, navigating the new administration. We spent a lot of time figuring out how all the new policies affected us, and found that we're thankful that former Councilmember Girusso is now the CEO and is familiar with our operations, so he's been very forthcoming in helping us interpret these new policies. Seems like most of our operations will remain unaffected. We have an exemption from the hiring freeze furloughs because we are self-funded. So we're going to continue with our staffing, and we're actually interviewing for an additional maintenance custodial position. We have interviews starting tomorrow. Mostly we'll just have some additional reporting, forecasts, financial forecasts, and other time use items that we have to do. I want to say thank you for all the input on the fishing pier rules. Some minor grammar and verbiage changes have been made. We have ordered permanent signage. We are working with Goodbye Girl Productions on utilizing H-Stock and parts of the boat launch parking area for filming the movie. Should review the contracts tomorrow and get those signed. We're using the Department of Parks and Parkways rates. That's how we set all the rates for this facility use it. There have been abandoned boats, process continuing. Have a couple laggers from previous year that we need to move, get auctioned, so I have to get that going quickly. Pond upgrades and repair, I talked about quality of life and safety. With some of the new policies changed a little bit, and it looks like the best thing for us to do is kind of go in-house. So the plan is to hire a landscape, enter a contract with a landscape architect to get us to develop a plan to deal with the damage caused by the nutria around the pond. Same thing with nutria removal, looking at proposals. Boathouse 31 lease, no change. And West End Development, the legal team has been instructed to re-engage with the new administration, and right now the outlook is positive, and all parties seem like they're willing to discuss the agreement, so they're back at it. Development expenses. From the invoice of January 25th, it's $9,998, so that's the beginning of the year. So we're starting over. That concludes the director's report.
Any members of the board have any questions on the director's report? Public have any questions on the director's report? Okay. Any unfinished business at this point? You don't have any other business for executive session, correct?
No.
Okay, with that being said, we can adjourn. So, it's been moved by Mr. West, second Mr. Watkins, and we adjourn. All right,